Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2024 Genesis GV70. This is the all-wheel drive Sport Prestige. Huge shout out to Genesis of Charlotte for providing this SUV for me today. Take a look at their website. That link is down in the description. This GV70 is finished off in Mayuna red and its MSRP is just over $59,000. Now this is powered by the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. It's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, pumping out 300 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through the all-wheel drive system, propelling this 4,200 pound SUV from 0 to 60 in 6 seconds. It has a top speed of 149. It also has a fuel capacity of 17.4 gallons. You'll expect to see around 22 miles per gallon in the city, 28 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 113.2 inches. Its overall length is 185.6. It has a width of 75.2, a height of 64.2, and its ground clearance measures in at 7.3 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this Genesis, let's start off with the massive grille. So the entire surround is finished off in chrome, and there are plenty of cutouts within that mesh to provide a lot of cooling up front. It also gives it a really nice distinctive look. There's a forward-facing camera nicely tucked in the middle there, and then plenty of cutouts for the rest of the mesh as well. There is a sensor up front for the adaptive cruise and all of that tech. And for the LED headlights, we have the split design with the LED DRLs and turn signals as well. So it's nice to see that distinctive appearance with the bodywork that runs throughout those housings. There's also some gloss black accents in the lower section, and then some very nice lines that come down the hood. 2 in the middle wrap around that Genesis wing badge, and then the ones on both corners meet the far ends of that grille. Now, as we work our way to the side, this has a really cool set of 21-inch wheels. They have a 5-spoke design to them, but check out that integrated pattern that goes through each blade too. It's a really nice distinctive touch. Now this also has power folding side mirrors with the turn signal and a camera system. There's some brush trim that runs around the window trim. There's also gloss black in the lower section. This does have a moonroof up top along with the gloss black roof rails, and very nice lines that run down the side. There's a distinctive line that runs from the headlight housing over the door handles all the way to the back, and then some more subtle lines in the lower section. And then in back, this does have a body colored spoiler with the third brake light. Wiper blade is in the lower section. There's LED taillights with the backup camera, even more body colored in the lower section with some gloss black for the diffuser, the reverse lights, and then check out the dual oval exhaust for this, which gives it a really nice look. Now, this model does have remote start, so let's start it up. We'll hold this button here. And once it is on and running, this also has the Smart Park feature. So if I hold on the button indicating the forwards direction, this is going to move forwards from the key fob. So we have a remote control car right now. As soon as you let off, the vehicle will stop, and then you can also go in the opposite direction. Now you can't steer, it's just mainly forwards and backwards for maneuvering in parking lots, maybe your driveway, things like that, which is a sweet feature to have. We can shut it off from the key fob as well, unlock it. We can even hold on this button to open up the power lift gate, or you can use the button that's underneath the window or the wiper blade. So you can push on that for the lift gate to open up. Now this is only a 2-row vehicle, so in back, plenty of cargo space for any items that you would like to place. There's even some storage underneath the floor, so you can open this up where we have the spare tire hidden underneath that, and then a little bit more storage in the front section. You can also fold down the second row or the back row with those controls, which is great to see. There's even an area where you can put a cover so you can have that installed as needed. And then with the back seats down, of course, that's going to give you a lot more interior space to make this that much more functional. Now up top, there's a button to close the power liftgate as well as lock the vehicle too if you need to do that. As we work our way to the back seats now, the door panel has a great design to it with all of the leather and stitching. There's even the manual adjustment for the sunshade if you need that. A little bit of storage down below. This has the Lexicon audio and a really cool trim piece on that grab handle. Now, in order to flip this seat up, you do have to release the lever down below, and then you can lock it back up into its up position. And at 5'10", I have a good amount of space There are some storage nets behind both front seats, climate adjustments. All of those are down below with the rotary dials for your temperature. There's some auxiliaries down below. You can even adjust this passenger seat from the back seat, which is really nice. So if no one's up front, you can quickly do that rather than going around. Right in the middle, there is the armrest along with 2 cup holders. And as you can tell, this is fully reclined. This is in the upright position. So you have a lot more comfort that you can get in reclining this seat. And at 5'10", I still have plenty of headroom, even with the seat all the way up. So it's a very nice, comfortable place to be for this smaller size. Full moonroof, as I mentioned earlier, and then even a lot of lighting too, even with the design of that rear pillar. Now, as we take a look at the front door panel, it's just like the rear. However, there's all the window adjustments, side mirror controls, even the memory seats, and more storage is located down below. These front seats are also massaging. So there's all the automatic controls as well as the massaging feature. And it is a low SUV, so it's very easy to enter. Now, as we take a look at the steering wheel, it's finished off in solid and perforated leather. On this left side, there's voice commands, Bluetooth, volume and tuning, mode, and a favorites control. On this right side, there's cruise control with your distance pacing, your lane keeping assist, and then a few controls for the digital gauge cluster. So let's fire this up and we can go through that digital gauge cluster. On the left side, there's miles per hour and the fuel level. Right side is TAC and the engine temperature. And then you can scroll through all this information just depending on what you would like to see. There's a few vitals along with where the power is being sent, tire pressure. You have your attention level as well. You can go through the distance pacing, even pull up your compass and all of these vitals. And then you can also use the turn signals to get that camera system within the gauge cluster. So that takes away any blind spots or any items that you may be coming up to, gives you that much more visibility, which is great to see. This also has steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. And then on the left side, there's the engine start stop, dimmer switches, downhill assist, along with traction control, and then the e-brake and that power lift gate. Now the entire dash is also covered in leather. And then for the infotainment system, this is a touchscreen system and you can easily swipe through all of this information. So you have your climates, quiet mode, you can go into your seat adjustments, even pull up your navigation, get to that calm screen. Now, if you don't want to reach that far, you can use everything down below. All of these shortcuts, there's volume and tuning and this rotary dial. So you can use all of that to further go through this information, which is very, very helpful. Now, there's also a third way to do this. We have some shortcuts down below, so you can get into the navigation, pull up all that information, even get to your favorites and your media. So it's very well laid out. There's also the air vents just underneath that with more leather. Comes all the way back to this secondary LCD screen. Now, this also has heated and ventilated seats, so you can quickly adjust those. You can even get to the rear adjustments, so that way your backseat passengers don't have to reach for that, especially if they're younger kids. You can go between front and rear, heated steering wheel, climate adjustments with the temperatures, and then you have some defrosters and sync on that right side. Now, underneath that, there's a small tray where this does have wireless charging with a few auxiliaries. You can easily hide that away and have it nicely hidden. Now, on this left side, we do have a shortcut to the camera system. So you can pull that up. Currently, we have the backup camera, and you have a few different guidelines, including the full 360 view. So that way you have no shortage of visibility issues. Parking sensors on that left side, and then there's a few different driving modes that you can go through. There's snow, eco, comfort, sport, and even sport plus. You can use those paddles in those modes just depending on how you would like to drive. And then the gear selector, by going all the way to the left, is for reverse, all the way to the right is drive, park is right in the middle. And then good amount of storage in the center armrest, along with a few auxiliaries, and then plenty more room in that glove box. Now up top, there is a sunglass holder, and then there's the dome lights, as well as the controls for that sunshade and the sunroof. And even with that pillar in the back, it's pretty easy to see over both shoulders. As we set off now behind the wheel for the GV70, I just finished driving the GV80, so that is a little bit larger of an SUV, just depending on the size you want to go with. We're in the smaller GV70 now, but honestly, it doesn't feel that small. It's a lot more confined feeling and compact, but it doesn't feel claustrophobically tight or anything like that. It feels like a good, kind of normal size SUV. If you want something that's a little bit smaller yet still practical, something that's going to work well in the city, and you just don't need a larger vehicle or something that might have a third row. So GV70 is a good size. It also still offers a lot. We are in the fully loaded GV70, just shy of $60,000. So if you want a smaller, or if you want a lower trim level, you want to save a little bit more, you can definitely do that. But with that top trim level being right around 60, that's still not all that expensive when you factor in what it has to offer, all the technology and the exclusivity, I will say, with the Genesis brand. Genesis is owned by Hyundai, if you are unfamiliar with that. And it's been a few years that Genesis has had their luxury brand over the Hyundai models, and they are really coming up with some very nice vehicles. This is my first time in the GV70, and I gotta say, it's very nice. It drives very smooth, it's very composed feeling, and then if you want to, we'll put it into sport mode, and then you can have a little bit of fun with it, using these paddle shifters, which are pretty responsive. Even taking some bumps in the road like that, it feels like you're just driving a cloud. It's very, very nice feeling and smooth. We even have the massaging seat for the driver, so that way you can be a little bit more comfortable while you are daily driving your Genesis. As far as the turning radius goes, it's not bad. It's like a normal vehicle as far as the 3-point turn that I'm doing right now, and we have all of that visibility, especially with that 360 camera. It lets you see curbs or anything that's around you at those slower speeds, which I really like. A lot of vehicles have that, of course, but it's very easy to use in this model, and with that size of the screen, it's very easy to see too. But we have a lot of, the end of the seat also has an adjustment on it. I just found that out. So we have a little bit more of a leg support, which is nice to have, just depending on your height and what comfort you want. But I love these seats. Lateral supports are super nice, and we have a little bit of a cushion for this headrest here. And with it in sport mode, second gear, here we go. For that 4-cylinder engine, it definitely has a good amount of get up and go. Very smooth in those shifts. Even with the paddles, they are super responsive. Not something you're probably going to use a lot in this particular vehicle, but when you need that extra bit of power, a little bit more sporty drive, it's definitely very fun, and we have that tight turning radius to get us turned around, but pretty direct in the steering as well. So it's a fun, peppy little engine. It's got plenty of power for this, especially with how much it weighs. There's really no concerns with that. But now that we're behind the wheel for this $60,000 GV70, it's very nice. Visibility is also great up front with the smaller windows on both pillars there. But it's a nice place to be. We're pretty low feeling, but at the same time, seat feels a little bit high. Obviously, I can make adjustments to that, but I do like the seating position and the view out of the windshield here. And we do get the different driving modes. So when you put it into Eco, it's not going to have as much throttle response, of course, trying to save on your MPG. So it's nice that you have the different modes just depending on what you're doing for the day. But for that 60 grand, again, all of these trim materials, all of the leather, everything just has that premium feel that you would expect, especially for this price point. So from Genesis, you're competing with other luxury brands and coming in at a lower cost for more features. So fully loaded GV70 compared to other luxury brands that are going to cost even more than that $60,000 mark, trim level for trim level. So when you are trying to compare them equally, it's a great option to go with, and a little bit more on that rare side. I don't see Genesis models too often, but it's very nice when I get to see them because they have a great look to them. And now that I've been able to drive one, I really can't complain. This is a really nice luxury focused brand that you should definitely put on your list. That is going to wrap it up though for the 24 GV70. Once again, a huge shout out to Genesis of Charlotte for providing this for me today. Check out their website, give this video a huge thumbs up, consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads, and I will see you all in the next video.